All right, folks. It's After Hours with Scott Cannon here. WLTH 1370 AM. We only got about 15 minutes before I gotta get out of here at the top of the hour. Let me see who this phone caller is. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello, caller. What's up?
Yeah. It seems to me that in America, the powers that be act as though they are afraid of attacking or even addressing the finances of big business and individuals who are over big businesses.
They are.
Because they, it's almost like it's un-American.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe these are the risk takers who employ people or make the economy work. So I don't know what the theory is, but to go after folk who are minimum wage earners and even less,
mm-hmm.
with come on, waitresses, and
yep,
this is ridiculous. They're trying to raise their families. I don't understand it, but there are a lot of things in America I don't understand. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Oh, thank you for your call. Yes, I absolutely agree. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, why they fought so hard to vilify communism and socialism in this country. How many people know that Cuba has a lung cancer vaccine right now? That's right. Cuba has created a lung cancer vaccine. Rich people from all over the world are going to Cuba as we speak to get this lung cancer vaccine. Cuba exports its doctors all over the world. Whenever there's an Ebola outbreak in Africa, or when COVID-19 was ravaging the rest of the world, Cuba was exporting Cuban doctors all over the world. Now, you won't hear about that in this country because we're supposed to believe that because Cuba is a communist country, it has done nothing correct ever in the last 60 years. But as I always tell people, if communism is so bad, why do we have to fight so hard against it? Just let it fail. Just let it fail. Why do we have to have an embargo against the Cuban government? Why do we... there's been studies that shown that it's cost those people billions, hundreds of billions of dollars over the last 60 years. Just let them fail. If you're so sure in capitalism and that the public will support capitalism no matter what, then let it fail. But again, the corporations own this country. They own our media. We talk about that regularly on this show. They own the medical system. They own the healthcare system. They own the military industrial complex. They own all of our politicians. And man, that's a very good intro into this next story. Very good intro into this next story, folks. Because something you're not going to hear on the corporate media, especially not the liberal media, is that there is one party in this country that represents all of the richest congressional districts in this country. Every single one of them. All 40. Now, a lot of people may think that is newsworthy enough when you have one party that controls all the richest communities in the country, but apparently not our media, because you won't hear it in the mainstream media. But yes, one party in this country controls all the richest congressional districts in the country. Who wants to guess which party it is? Now, my whole life, I've grown up with the belief and lived with the belief that the Republicans were the party of the rich. Party of George W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, low taxes on the rich. don't spend too much money on social services and things for the community and for the poor, especially not programs for the poor and the working classes. Tax and don't send jobs overseas. Things like that. But no, you would think that it would be the Republicans, but no, it's the Democrats. The 40 congressional districts in the 116th Congress that had the highest median home values for their owner-occupied homes were all represented by Democrats. In fact, during that Congress, only 10 of the 100 districts with the highest median owner-occupied home values were represented by Republicans. So that means 90 out of 100 of the richest congressional districts in this country are represented by Democrats. 90 out of 100. The U.S. Census Bureau released data from its American Community Survey that included the median housing value of owner-occupied housing units in each of the nation's 435 congressional districts from the 116th Congress. 27 of the 40 districts that had the highest median home values were in California. Another 7 were in New York. 3 were in Washington State. 2 were in Hawaii, and 1 was in Massachusetts. 4 of the 6 richest congressional districts in the country were, when measured by median home value, were in San Francisco, in the San Francisco Bay Area. The other 2 were in Los Angeles. The district with the most expensive homes was California's 18th district, which includes the southern end of San Francisco Peninsula, which is part of the Santa Clara Valley and the Santa Cruz Mountains that stretch westward from Santa Clara to the coast. In that congressional district, according to the Census Bureau, the median value of owner-occupied homes was $1,702,700. Wow, that's a big pimping right there. Now, why is this important? It is important because when we get this, we get fed this a lot because we're heavily black and Hispanic community here in Northwest Indiana. Here in NWI, we are very black, very Hispanic, poor and working class white communities, and we are told, and we've been told, that the Democrats are the party of the working class, the party of the poor. The Republicans are the party of the rich. But when you actually drill down beyond just the rhetoric of politicians, don't just listen to what they say. Look at what they do and who they pander to. Joe Biden raised 3 times more money from Wall Street than Donald Trump. 3 times as much. Wall Street was firmly behind Joe Biden when it came between him and another billionaire. Donald Trump's one of them, and they still chose Joe Biden. Now, why do you think that if the Democrats were any threat whatsoever to the wealthy elites who run our country, whether it's on Wall Street, whether it's in corporate America, whether it's in the military industrial complex, all those defense contractors like Raytheon and Boeing, or the health insurance companies, or the corporate media conglomerates, why do you think that they would support people like Joe Biden if the Democrats are socialist? That's all we hear. The Democrats are socialist. The Democrats, oh my God, they love socialism so much. Really? Really? They told us Obamacare was socialism. How is it socialism? Mitt Romney invented it. Mitt Romney literally invented Obamacare. It was called Romneycare before it was called Obamacare. That's why it's important to look beyond just the nonsense rhetoric of these people. I tell you all the time, it's pro wrestling. The Democrats, the Republicans, they pretend to hate each other. They stage these fights between each other. But ultimately, as George Carlin said, it's a big club. And you ain't in it. You ain't in it. I ain't in it. Both of these parties represent the interests of the moneyed elites. They own the elites, especially of the party. The only reason that they don't like Donald Trump is not because he's a good guy, like his misguided supporters think. Donald Trump doesn't give a damn about you any more than Joe Biden does and Kamala Harris does. Donald Trump doesn't care about anything but money and his own glorification. But Donald Trump is so arrogant that he actually does not mind telling the truth about things sometimes, because he knows you're not going to do anything about it. All the other elites are afraid that if you hear the truth, you may actually get up and say something about it and do something about it. Donald Trump knows that if he tells the truth, that, hey, yeah, we took the oil in Syria. That's what we wanted. We don't care anything about those people. We're just taking their oil. They think that the American people are going to get mad about that. If Donald Trump just says, hey, yeah, we don't care about the people in Yemen. We don't care if the Saudis behead people. None of that matters. They think that eventually you're going to get up and do something. And so they hate Donald Trump because he's got a big mouth. And because he doesn't know when to shut the hell up and just go with the flow. And he's too erratic and tells the truth about the military-industrial complex. He's the only president in my lifetime, I think, has ever used the term military-industrial complex. But he's so arrogant and so narcissistic that he just doesn't care whether you know these things. The other elites want to they want to keep you in the dark. They don't want you to know about these things. Donald Trump just says, what? They ain't gonna do nothing. What are they gonna do? He's the naked face of what all these people are. Democrat and Republican. And that's the only reason that the powers that be in the mainstream corporate liberal media hate Donald Trump. He was one of them for many years. They had no beef with Donald Trump when they were in his beauty pageants, when they were putting him on his TV shows, when rappers were shouting him out, when Al Sharpton and all these people were taking his money. They had no problem with him. But again, now that he's just merely arrogant enough and in a position where he can expose enough with his big giant mouth and his constipated brain, now all of a sudden, because the elites know that he may mess it up for all of them, now they want to act like, oh, we're so opposed to Trump. These people are not enemies. The Clintons and the Trumps are best friends. They were for many years. Donald Trump asked Bill Clinton if he could run for president. He asked him if he could run for president. And Bill Clinton said, yeah, go ahead. This is all one giant game to these people. They do not care about you. Do not take sides in these wars between white supremacists. Whew, I had to get that off my chest, folks, and that felt good.